We've mentioned that there's a brand new Chumash out there. It is the Magerman edition of the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, Chumash Koren edition, with Rashi and Unkelans. And what's unique about this Chumash, which I saw online, already some synagogues have ordered them and are incorporating them into their service. What's unique about it, it's a translation and commentary by the late, great Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks. It is a 1,700-page work. It is available. It's out there. We refer to it as the Koren Chumash, but again, what's unique about it is that Rabbi Sacks' translation and commentary. With us live from Israel is the publisher at Koren Publications, and that is Matthew Miller. Matthew Miller, a pleasure to welcome you back to JM in the AM.
Always good to speak with you, Nachum.
Appreciate that. It's been a long time, and it's great to have you on. This is always interesting and curious. Obviously, Rabbi Sacks is no longer with us. Passed away, if I'm not mistaken, like 4 or 5 years ago during COVID, and now all this time later, the Chumash comes out. So tell me about the beginnings of all this. I mean, obviously, you were in discussions with him about this, I would assume, during his lifetime. Obviously, again, I would assume, but you'll tell us that someone else or a team of others had to finish this work. Tell me how this came about, that we're now holding in our hand the brand new Rabbi Sacks Koren Chumash.
Well, this project is about 10 years in the making. Rabbi Sacks' 5th yahrzeit is coming up in the middle of November. And I don't know if you recall, but about 4 or 5 years ago, we actually brought out the new Koren Tanakh, for which Rabbi Sacks translated the Torah section. We had a very good team translating the rest of Nach under his direction and style guides. And then the plan was always to bring out the Chumash, but obviously we had to do the translation first.
Right.
He was well into the commentary on the Chumash. I think we had about a half a sefer done, maybe not quite a half a sefer. And then he went into hospital. And he said, Matthew, I have to have this procedure done, but when I get out, we'll finish this. And he didn't. Wow. And that was, everyone was shocked. His family, we were all, I think the whole Jewish world was in the back.
No question about it.
And, especially these last few years between the COVID and the war, it's been just, the search for moral leadership, the moral voice has been, we miss him terribly.
Oh, 100%. His voice,
anyway,
as you just said, his voice became so incredibly important, especially in the last 5-10 years of his life, when he just became so recognizable and so important to so many parts of our community worldwide. And when he left us, that was felt by everybody around the world. So, does this... When this happens and he, is taken from us suddenly, we'll call it that, the way you described it, do you consider scrapping the project? How does one pick things up as a publisher and decide we're going forward with this or not?
Look, after about 3 or 4 months of complete shock, and I don't have to tell you, the Sacks family was devastated.
Yep.
We really couldn't bring it up to them. We obviously had to wait, and then we discussed with the family, with the Rabbi Sacks Trust, how are we going to approach this? And after, I won't say negotiation, but really open and frank discussion between all 3 parties, what we came up with, I think, was a very good plan. Under the editorship of both Reuven Ziegler and Jessica Sacks' niece, Rabbi Reuven Ziegler, I'm sure you know.
Sure.
We literally went through everything he wrote, not just in Covenant and Conversation, but every work that was published that he ever wrote. I'm simplifying. We put it on a spreadsheet for the entire Chumash, chapter and verse, from the Bereshit 1:1 to the end of Devarim, and then we honed, and we ended up with a verse by verse commentary based on his writings. They're 100% his writings. There's nothing else. except for maybe an ellipsis where we took out some words.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I'm sorry.
The references to each is in the back of the Chumash.
Right.
So you can see when he talks about the ratio, you can see which books we referred to when we took it.
Yeah, essentially it's footnoted and noted, etc. He must have had an amazing number of works with you in general. I mean, it wasn't just 5 volumes, his commentary on Chumash. Didn't he approach Chumash from many different angles, or am I not remembering correctly?
You're absolutely correct. I mean, look, he published, I think, 30 books, most of which we published, but not all.
Right.
But we obviously could reference all of the books in the Chumash. And and what was amazing is, what was absolutely amazing was not only his command of the Meforshim from Philo and the Talmud to today, to Hirsch and all, but his command of whether it was sociology, whether it was anthropology, was ethics, was non-Jewish and Jewish source, the command is phenomenal. And the eloquence, I don't have to tell you if you've ever heard him, but I was reading this just this past Shabbat. So I'm sitting in shul, and although I've read all this many, many times, just seeing it on the page with the text. Can I just read you a short selection?
Sure, of course.
So, he's talking after Cain kills Hevel, and there's lots of implication. And he says, this, however, he says, the road from denial of responsibility, am I my brother's keeper, to violence and murder is slippery and short.
Oh, wow.
This, however, is not all. The first murder follows directly from the offerings brought by Cain and Hevel, the first recorded act of worship. The connection between religion and violence is struck at the start. Too often in the history of religion, people have killed in the name of God, waged war in the name of the God of peace, hated in the name of God of love, and practiced cruelty in the name of the God of compassion. When this happens, God speaks sometimes in a still, small, almost inaudible voice beneath the clamor of those claiming to speak on his behalf. What he says at such times is, not in my name. I mean, the power and the eloquence of what he writes it's beyond more than just quoting a Rashi and quoting a Meforsh.
And it's interesting. It's interesting you point out that passage because Rabbi Sacks was an expert on a lot of things, but he did not hesitate, as many other leaders today do. He did not hesitate to address terrorism, to address religious extremism, to address he wrote about it extensively. Your books and
this is why the BBC, whenever they wanted a real religious figure, they wouldn't go to the Church of England. They wouldn't go. They put him on. He was on. Right. He was on the God spot many, many times.
100%. All right. The translation and commentary of Rabbi Sacks, the Chumash has been released by our friends at Koren. Matthew Miller, the publisher, is with us live via telephone. Now, did he have an input? Oh, by the way, before I even talk about the input on the format, when you mentioned that he wrote, I think you said half a sefer was already complete with him directly dealing with this project. And then, of course, as you said, the team culled together everything else and put together the Chumash. Is there any difference in the approach, in the language, in the sound, in the voice of that half of a sefer because he did it directly as opposed to all the other material that was culled afterwards?
No, we were very, very sensitive because he actually completed, 5, 6, 7 partial, which, by the way, it took he and us together about 6 months to develop the format. We followed the formatting.
He had a major input in the format?
Absolutely. It's his format.
Wow.
Absolutely. No, he set the format, and which enabled us to carry on.
The other thing I wanted to ask was you mentioned, again, makes sense, anything he had written got onto the spreadsheet. every parsha was represented, et cetera, et cetera. What about his lectures? Did any of his spoken word presentations get into the Rabbi Sacks Chumash?
Yes, I refer you to, again, the back of the Chumash where we reference the entire work and where everything came from. So, yes. And some of it from lectures, came from articles, came from everything.
Amazing. Matthew Miller's with us live via telephone, publisher at Koren. All right. So now some of the basic questions, some I would have asked him, some I would only ask the actual publisher. There are curiosities when it comes to Koren projects, including this one. Why the left side of the page? Why did you take this direction with the Siddur and other holy books to put the actual text on the left side as opposed to the right side of the page?
That is we do that, as you note, in all of our Siddurim, Machzorim, and of course the Chumash. If you look, Hebrew flows right to left. English flows left to right. It's the natural way to read it. Your eye goes, if you're reading Hebrew, directly to the left-hand side. When you're reading the English, you go to the right-hand side. I point out Ruch Shamar in our Siddur. It's a perfect example of how you can translate, in a way, the commentary and the way the layout is a commentary itself. That is to say, we're giving the presentation of the text the easiest way to read. You'll see that the type size is very large. It's very easy to read. There's a lot of white space because we didn't want to cram in everything to make it unreadable.
That's why it's 1,700 pages.
Well, you're not wrong.
I wonder if you're ever going to make a pocket edition. Because
how big is your pocket?
Yeah, I was just going to say this is quite a work. The other thing is that, and I'm wondering about your perspective on this. Your Rashi typeset is amazing. The fact that there are nikudot, the reading symbols, vowels accompanying Rashi is amazing, especially for those of us who've struggled for many decades with the fact that Rashi was never presented in that fashion. When do you think the phobia of not altering anything having to do with Rashi, especially the nikudot, the vowels, the symbols, when do you think we finally moved on from that as a worldwide Jewish community?
How about yesterday?
Recently, huh?
No, I mean, I look. Here's the thing, by the way. Mr. Koren designed all his fonts in the 1950s. There's two separate fonts. There's a Tanakh font because he felt everything that should Tanakh should have its own dedicated font, and there's a separate font for Siddurim. Now, when I took over the company in 2007, I asked our chief designer, why was there no Chumash with Rashi?
Right.
And she said, and she was trained by Mr. Koren. She said, Mr. Koren never liked the old Rashi fonts. He wanted to do something better. And then when we were moving offices once, we came across a box. We opened it up, and it was all the hand drawings for the Rashi font you see in front of you.
Wow.
We were shocked. So we actually took it, we completed it, we digitalized it, we added the Nikud, and that's what you see in front of you. That is relatively, it's about 10 years old, but it's only coming in now because it's complete.
Amazing.
And the object was to make a much, much more legible and easier to read Rashi font. Why knock yourself out for no reason?
Look, I've always said that, but it took till very recently to finally implement that attitude, frankly. And then Onkelos, which does have nikudot in our tradition, right? You look at the traditional Mikrot Gedolot, right. You're going to see. But what have you changed or upgraded what's available in terms of the Onkelos commentary?
Yes, if you look at the Onkelos, you'll notice that some of the words are in a lighter.
Right. Not as dark. Right. Not as dark.
And that is not a mistake. That's not a printing error. Those are words in the light typeface. Those are words which Onkelos added into his direct translation. In other words, the dark The dark text is his direct translation, and the light text are the elucidation. Like in a Talmud, which is reverse.
Yeah, understood.
So this way, you can actually see what he added in.
And anything that we see, and anything that we see below the line is Rabbi Sacks's.
Correct. Everything.
I mean,
every single word.
When you think about how much knowledge he possessed, it's simply incredible.
It's frightening. Every meeting I ever had with him, which were dozens over the years, and over 15 years, many dozens, every meeting became a shiur. There was never a meeting where it was just do the business and get on. Everything turned into a lesson. Number two, he had a fabulous sense of humor.
Right.
Fabulous.
That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons he was. That's one of the reasons he wasn't intimidating. I'm not saying people palled around with him, but it was an enjoyable experience to socialize with him.
I mean, he was a pleasure to be with.
Yep.
And by the way, of all of our authors, and I hope nobody's offended when I say this, he was the easiest to work with. Wow. We actually brought in, I don't know if you know Shai Finkelstein in Jerusalem. We brought him in because Rabbi Sacks wanted to have a chavruta. And we thought, what does he want to have a chavruta when he was writing the commentary? And we thought, he knows, what are we going to teach him? And then I realized he wanted the act of going back and forth and arguing his point because he loved the process.
Amazing.
He did, it was just a pleasure. I sat on some of those. It was fun to watch.
Amazing. Matthew Miller's with us. He's the publisher at Koren. Brand new translation and commentary by Rabbi Sacks is out. What have you heard from synagogues around the world? I mean, we've seen evidence, social media evidence of some synagogues who are now making sure to order and incorporate the Rabbi Sacks Chumash into their Shabbat morning service. Have you gotten that reaction from other synagogues around the world?
First printing sold out. Second printing came in and is sold out. Third printing is coming in January.
People are excited about it, huh? The rabbis and people are excited about it.
But it changes the way you read the parsha.
Right.
This is the Koren aspect. But it's not like you read the parsha, look down, see what the commentary. You're always going up and down with other chumashim. With us, you read the Hebrew or you read the English, and then you look down and you read one or two essays about a couple of points. I find that I'm reading now. I finished reading the Torah section, and after Haftorah is done, because it slows down and enhances the experience. It's a different experience.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right.
It's a richer experience.
Look, I mean, the individual, I guess the easiest thing is KorenPub.com, right? That's the easiest way for an individual to get this, correct?
KorenPub.com is right there.
What do you want to say to the presidents and rabbis of synagogues? How could they be in direct contact with you or others to, order in the hundreds, please God?
What's wrong with thousands? I guess Shlomo at KorenPub.com. He's our sales director, and he'll take care of everything you need. SHLOMO at KorenPub.com, and Shlomo will take care of you.
And are you saying that, because I don't know the way this works, are you saying that if a shul would order in the hundreds today, they'd probably have to wait till 2026 to actually get them?
I think we can get you some now, but we're going to be out of stock in about a week or two. So,
wow.
Yeah, I would say maybe 2-3 months before the third batch comes in. We've ordered now for the entire. We've ordered now for all 26.
The Magerman family has made quite a commitment to your projects. Would that be an accurate statement?
They have made a wonderful commitment to us, to Rabbi Sacks, and to really extending the approach to Torah worldwide. They've been wonderful.
Kol hakavod to them. Kol hakavod to them.
If I speak anymore, I'll be embarrassed. David, I don't want to embarrass him, but he's not to turn off our appreciation either.
Well, I just wanted to say kol hakavod to them because, as we know in Jewish history, it's families that take a strong interest in supporting important works that make a real difference for generations. And I think you would agree that that's an accurate assessment.
Of course. We've got so many friends. We've got so many friends that have been so helpful to us over the years.
Well, what you've done, really the truth is I really can't speak with tremendous authority about pre-2007 Koren. I wasn't familiar enough, but it's obvious that since you've gotten there, you have just you've encouraged and carried out, I don't know if you want to use the word revolution, but certainly, a major, some major milestones in the world of Jewish publishing.
You can say an evolution.
Can we say revolution?
There's no revolution. It's an evolution.
Right.
One of our slogans, that we did in advertising was like tradition renewed. And I think that's true. We're very grounded. We're very rooted. But you talk about the presentation of the Rashi, for example. Why do we change? Because we wanted to make it easier for the reader to use. We just wanted to make it easier and more accessible. We didn't dumb it down. We just are making it more accessible. If you look at our Talmud that we did with the Rabbi Steinsaltz's people, Rabbi Steinsaltz, it's accessibility, it's clarity. We're not trying to scare off people. We're trying to make them see what's on the page. And we're doing that, whether it's the Sidurim, the Machzirim, the Talmud, and now the Chumash and the Tanakh. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Create accessibility and clarity.
Oh, you're doing a great job at it. Matthew Miller, a real delight to speak to you about this. Mazal Tov on this incredible accomplishment. Best regards to all of our friends.
I want to buy you a steak and a bottle of wine next time you're in town.
Are you guys still in Talpiot headquarters, or you've moved?
Yeah, we moved about 10 blocks away. We're in Arnona.
In Arnona.
We're just 10 blocks away.
There's
a great steak place around the corner from us if you have to try.
I see you know exactly what's going to make me come and visit my friends at Koren. Matthew Miller, he's the publisher. Everybody out there, check it out. The Magerman edition, brand new Chumash, Koren Shalem im Rashi V'Unkelos, translation and commentary by the amazing and incredible Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory, who we miss every single day. Matthew, best regards to everybody in Jerusalem, and thanks for joining us.
Be well, Nachum. See you next time.
More coming up. You're listening to a Tuesday morning edition of JM in the AM.